You spook easily, Starling?
Not yet, sir.
He's past the others. The last cell. I'll be watching. You'll do fine.
A killer is on the loose.
Keeps them alive for 3 days. Then he shoots them, skins them, and dumps them.
A rookie FBI agent is on his trail.
He's got real physical strength, cautious, precise, and he's never impulsive. He'll never stop.
But in order to track him down, she'll have to match wits.
I'll help you catch him, Clary.
Believe me, you don't want Hannibal Lecter inside your head.
With the darkest of all minds.
Just do your job, but never forget what he is.
But he's a monster. Pure psychopath. So rare to capture one alive.
So close to the way you're going to catch him. Do you realize that? Oh, Clarice, your problem is you need to get more fun out of life.
You told me you don't spook easily.
You call this easy, sir?
Lecter's missing hand arm.
Man's a raving maniac. Who knows what he'll do?
Thank you, Clary. Thank you.
Hey guys, welcome to week 24, I think it is, on the Real DVD Watchers, and this week I'm going to be reviewing The Silence of the Lambs. This is a 1991 psychological thriller, kind of horror film, directed by, I think his name was Jonathan, I don't know how to pronounce it, Jonathan Demme or Demme, I don't know, I really don't know what other work he's done, and it's based off the novel of the same name by Thomas Harris. It stars Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins as Clarice Starling and Dr. Hannibal Lecter, respectively. And basically, it tells the story of Clarice Starling, who's this young FBI student trainee who's given this assignment to basically go and interview Hannibal Lecter, so to speak, who's this brilliant psychiatrist who himself was incarcerated for murder. He's in maximum security. He's very much, in the film, most notorious and dangerous criminals out there, murderers out there. And she's basically sent to interview him and see what potential insight he can give into the psychological profile of another notorious killer who's out there called Buffalo Bill. And it basically becomes this story of her seeking the advice of Hannibal Lecter on catching this serial killer. That's really all I can get into without revealing too much. The film is, as I said before, combines a lot of elements of both the thriller and horror, and I think one of the things that it does well is you don't get a sense that once it becomes more of a horror film, you don't get a sense that it's changed tone completely, because the story flows really well. The editing, and as far as constructing this story and how everything, all the events and all the key elements unfold, is really well constructed. You don't get lost in it. You don't get confused. It's very well put together. That said, it's not so much a mystery of who is the killer, or it's more of a how are they going to catch the killer, because you get to see who this Buffalo Bill character is fairly early on in the movie, I do believe, and so it's more of a how are these events going to unfold into leading to the capture of this character. And in that sense, you might be saying, like, well, what's the point if we know they're going to catch him? First of all, you don't necessarily know, and I didn't spoil anything because I'm not going to reveal whether or not they do catch him. It's also about the characters, and one of the most interesting dynamics of this film is, of course, the interactions between Clarice Starling and Dr. Hannibal Lecter. Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins both received Best Actor and Best Actress Oscars wins for their performances in this film, and they're much deserved. The characters on their own, they play the roles brilliantly. Jodie Foster does have this very she gives across the screen presence of very determined, but almost not naive, but new, fresh. You know, she's just starting to get her legs into the FBI training, FBI psychological criminal realm, if you will. And you do get that very sense that she's like a rookie, so to speak, but you also get the sense that she's very wise, almost beyond her years, and Jodie Foster is really brilliant in this role. You get the sense from Anthony Hopkins, who plays Hannibal Lecter is easily one of the greatest film villains to ever be portrayed on screen, in my opinion. He plays his character so calmly, and it's almost chilling. This character is very complex, because obviously he's a horrific murderer, and at the same time, he's almost like a gentleman. He's very polite, particularly towards Starling, and he's very calm. He's very... You get... It's strange. There's almost a calming presence when you're around this character. And at the same time, that's what's so eerie about him, because you know what he's done, and you know what he's entirely capable of. And the two together, when you bring them together, they are brilliant together. Some of the best chemistry I've ever seen in any film. The two characters, the way they're interacting is very... And the relationship those two characters have is just immensely perfect, almost. Like,
it's only part of the island. There's very nice beach. Terns nest there. There's beautiful...
Terns? If I help you, Clarice, it will be terns with us, too. Quid pro quo. I tell you things, you tell me things. Not about this case, though. About yourself. Quid pro quo. Yes or no? Yes or no, Clarice? Poor little Catherine is waiting.
Go, Doctor.
What is your worst memory of childhood?
Death of my father.
Tell me about it and don't lie, or I'll know.
He was a town marshal, and one night he surprised two burglars coming out the back of a drugstore. They shot him.
Was he killed outright?
No, he was very strong. He lasted more than a month. My mother died when I was very young, so my father had become the whole world to me. And when he left me, I had nothing. I was 10 years old.
You're very frank, Clarice. I think it would be quite something to know you in private life.
Quid pro quo, Doctor.
one of the things that I think this film also successfully does is bring a sort of sense of suspense in the closing moments of the film. It's very tense. It's kind of edge of your seat kind of stuff. One complaint I heard about the film is that it becomes almost like a typical horror monster film, and I can kind of see where towards the end, and I can kind of see where some might take that. You know, at the same time, it didn't bother me at all. You're just so sucked into this story and into these characters that you almost don't notice things. I did notice a few things that had become cliched. I don't know if I can complain that this is a fault of the movie, because this is a 1991 film, I think I mentioned. And so all the other films where I saw things in this film and said, you know, I've seen that in other lesser films. I don't really know if I can look and say this movie is cliched, because, you know, all those other films could have been copying this one, or paying homage, if you will. Regardless of that, even if this did take from other films, I think this film works effectively using some of these things. It really wasn't until the end where I was like, oh, you know, that's kind of been done before. During the whole watching of the film, I was just sucked into the story and the characters, as I said, and you don't really notice that. I don't know how I got from my last point to that point, but whatever. So yeah, as I mentioned before, this won Best Supporting Actor, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actress, and it did also won Best Adapted Screenplay, and it also won Best Picture. I think I read that this is one of few, if not the only film to have won all 4 major Oscar categories, and I think this film really does deserve it. Even though I had little complaints, again, I can't necessarily fault the movie for that, because it is one of the originals. It is one of the masterpieces, in my opinion. And I honestly can't think of anything to put this movie down. It's just a really fantastic thriller. You're constantly wondering what's going to happen next, and it was just a great film, and I honestly recommend it to anybody. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. So thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.